That time, an entitled parent had a tantrum. So at the moment, I work in retail. I work at a small antique and second-hand shop in the UK, and I'm often working in the shop on my own. We sell a variety of odd bits and bobs. Now, we never give discounts. It's a rule, because once you've given one person a discount, you have to give everyone a discount. Because someone could turn around and say, well, you gave that person a discount, or my personal favourite, you gave me a discount last time at the other store that we don't have. It's just one guy who has one member of staff to cover his auction days every week. So this chap comes in when I'm on my own in the shop with his two little girls. He spots an item that he wants and sends his little girls to ask for a discount. I say we aren't permitted to give discounts to anyone. Mind you, this item was also £2, so if you are that skint, save your money and don't waste it on stuff you don't need. The bloke blows up, starts screaming at me that I'm greedy and I should give it to him for free for being so disrespectful to him, and he's going to call head office to complain. Joke's on him for that one, we don't have a head office. I also should respect my elders. I've ruined his children's half term. I'm just a generally terrible person and he's never shopping here again. And what do I do as he storms out with his two mortified looking kids? Have a nice day. Entitled parent ruins kids camp. Not me, but my scout leader. He used to run a D.O.V. course for the scouts. For Americans, this is a long hike, carrying your stuff with no contact to anyone, pitching a tent and sleeping and then hiking the next day to a pickup point with your 4 to 6 man group. He always gave a very heavy warning that the scouts have to bring a cold packed lunch which doesn't need cooking and nothing which will spoil, like a steak or something. One entitled parent insisted on bringing those ready meal army food packs which you add water to and then boil for his lunch, but they don't have time to heat it up, so he went without lunch on both days. Another time, an idiot packed milk and bacon which leaked in his bag and went off as it wasn't refrigerated, so all of his clothes and stuff were covered in spilled milk and raw bacon. I'm your father, let me ruin your life. My father, not somebody else's. So growing up, both of my parents were really strict, and there were some pretty useless rules. My siblings and I couldn't do anything suspicious. We couldn't go outside unless one of them was home, and we asked first. They didn't really get home until after dark, so we couldn't really go out, amongst countless other things. I started writing a lot, but didn't really let anyone read it because of self-esteem issues. My dad was the ringleader out of the two of them, and through the years it just got worse. When I was in 7th grade, my younger sister and I got into an argument of which she said something that she shouldn't have and hit me. I hit back. She told my dad, who had always been waiting for an opportunity to attack my writing, which was a waste of time. Apparently I should have spent my time playing video games or staring aimlessly at a wall like he did sometimes. He told me to go get my novel, and I did. Because the consequences of listening to him were terrible, he took it, one of my best novels I had written, turned the shower on and threw the entire thing in. I started crying. There was no way of saving it. There had been countless other situations such as that one, but that one really hit hard, and I still haven't gotten over it. I tried rewriting it, but was unable to. Years later, and thankfully my dad is gone, and my mum finally realised that the way we were raised was terrible. I have a lot of issues due to the events that happened, but with the help of my girlfriend, I am healing. Slowly but still there. Entitled dad doesn't care he poisons his own dog. This happened when my sis used to work at a vet clinic in town, and this story happened on a Valentine's Day weekend. My sister was behind the front desk where people check their dogs in for appointments and to check out toys and such. Entitled dad walks in with a very sick and very young black lab. The puppy wasn't even able to stand and was puking very bad. Sis immediately grabbed the vet and didn't even say anything to entitled dad. The vet's assistant came out to talk to entitled dad to see what happened. What happened was that entitled dad had left a box of chocolates low enough for the dog to get to, in the front room, while he and his wife were having sexy time in their room. The vet and his assistant were trying very hard to help the dog get everything out. Sis and co-worker asked the basic questions. How big was the box and how old the puppy was? Turns out the dog was a Christmas present 2 months ago and was just about 5 months old. The box of chocolates was very big and very expensive. Sis remembers his exact words to this day. That was an expensive box of chocolates. I can always buy a new dog, but not a new box of chocolates. The vet's assistant said they'd have to keep the dog overnight to make sure nothing bad would happen, but the puppy ended up dying over the night. Sis and co-worker told vet what had happened and were both destroyed. Sorry there is no happy ending to this one, and also sorry for the long read. Woman destroys an entire family in one night. Hello everyone, this is my first post on the subreddit, but I think it's well deserved and quite long. So a little backstory, my stepfather is completely infertile. He'll never have children of his own. This has made him very upset and bothers him a lot since when my mum and him got married, they wanted children. As time went on, we all found out that he couldn't. Due to complications with IVF and my mum's weight, she's obese, and struggled to lose the necessary pounds, she never reached the goal due to issues with weight loss, stress, and the strain on the marriage. To this day, I'm surprised it's still intact and that they didn't divorce. So this story is about my stepfather's family. So my step-uncle divorced his ex-wife and was now a single father. Mother had severe mental health issues at the time and has split off the divorce settlement. 60k. He spent on pussy. He spent the entirety of the money on vagina. Not his kids, not a new place to stay, as he was at parents. No, it was all on high-end girls. Surprisingly, we were all pretty down, disappointed, and shocked. But hey, people have done worse. Not long after, he got a new girlfriend. No one likes her. She's a false, manipulative bitch who sees herself as the good person, and woe is me type. She was all over his kids, which is nice since they were all quite young. Except the oldest, who wasn't very keen on her. The oldest was all about his mum, who was in mental health care dealing with her OCD, depression and severe anxiety. She's now out of care and doing much better. My mother noticed she always was a bit too forward, too overbearing, and just didn't get a good vibe from her. At first she was welcome, the same way me and my mum were. First meeting was fine, then a month later we found out she's pregnant. What's worse is later on we found out this was planned. They were only dating for 3 weeks when, hey, let's make another kid, popped into their heads. Despite that, they struggled with the 3 they already had. And it all goes downhill from there. The reason why I mentioned my father's infertility, because of what this woman said to him. She told my dad to get over himself. My dad, who wanted kids so bad, fought so desperately, but only to save the marriage he had to the woman he loved and the adopted son he gained, that they stopped. So my dad gets in a depressed mood when another of his brothers has a kid. I mean, think about how you'd feel. This woman told my dad to get over himself, straight to my mum's face, behind his back. What's worse is that she became increasingly rude to my mum and bitched that my dad and his brother needed to talk and shit. Everyone was like, let them do that, not us, it's their family. Honestly, the whole thing was like Chinese whispers, with phone calls from her, my dad's brother, his other brother, and mum. Then she found out she was having a girl, the only girl born out of 8 previous boys, so she made a huge fucking deal about it. Everything had to be done her way. Nothing could be cheap or not name brand. She was the type of person, but she keeps messaging. And the dam breaks at a dinner celebration for the birth at grandparents' house. So everything is building. Everyone's been drinking, and all it takes is one sentence, and everything goes crazy. I missed the beginning as I was taking an evening nap. But when I come out, my dad is screaming at his brother. His brother is shouting right back with his bitch sobbing in the lounge. My dad had had enough of her drama and was over it. He told his brother everything. My mum had shown the entitled mum had texted her. Me and my dad's older brother hold my dad back because he's drunk, angry and prone to depressive moods. I was there for mere comforting, so needless to say the night was bad. We were officially banned from ever seeing them or the kids again, unless we apologised because my dad got into an argument with his brother while he held his infant. Number 1, his brother began holding the baby as the argument heated up. My dad never moved to harm him, and he would never hurt a baby. 3, we had to apologise for the months of antagonising behaviour towards them, so we never did and are still banned. Also, his parents are also banned as well for siding with us and saying that they, specifically she, needed to apologise. The only way we can see the kids is through their mum, who raises the oldest on her own full time, because his partner didn't like he was all about his mum and not her. She made her partner disown his firstborn son, so the family is still divided. Prejudiced mum harasses my South Asian co-workers in the drive-thru. I worked at a fast food coffee shop through college, in a fairly rich neighbourhood, so I encountered all sorts of nonsense, but never has ever quite surpassed this story in my mind. It was a lunch rush, so we're all hurrying around trying to keep things moving. My co-worker was working at the window. Nia was from a South Asian country, was in her late 30s. She also wore a hijab, and I saw her get more insults and harassment than anyone else. I absolutely loved this woman, even if we didn't always get along. She was super tough. I called her mama, and she called me daughter. It was so fun. So this particular day, the entitled mum came through. I didn't expect anything much from her. She was our average rich mum with a couple of kids and a nice car. Nia was working the window, so she greeted her and started getting her order ready. Entitled mother had ordered 3 bagels, and Nia put them in a large paper bag and placed them on the counter by the window. Unfortunately, she turned and knocked the bag with her elbow, and it fell onto the ground beside entitled mother's car. Now Nia had somewhat broken English, especially when she was in a panic. She started to tell the woman that we would pick it up, and not to get out of her car for it. But Entitled Mother misunderstood. "Excuse me, did you just tell me to pick these up off the ground?" No, ma'am, This woman cut her off and immediately flew into a tirade about how offensive it was, and how she couldn't believe someone would ask her to do something like that. The other 3 or 4 women working the drive-thru with us tried to chime in to defend Nia, but Entitled Mother wasn't hearing it. I finally leaned over from where I was standing, making drinks, and she smiled instantly when she saw me. I am a white woman. The Entitled Mother was a white woman. Nia and the other women were all of South Asian background. Make of that what you will. "Excuse me, ma'am, she wasn't telling you to pick it up herself. She said we would get it." Entitled Mother's smile faded. "I want to talk to your manager." Of course. I plastered a smile on and said I'd get her. My manager came out from her office, and Entitled Mother's face twisted into a glare. Mina was also South Asian. Entitled Mother started screaming at her too, about how inappropriate and rude Nia had been, and how offended she was. Mina kept trying to apologise and say we would make it right, but Entitled Mother wouldn't even let her get a word in. Don't forget, this woman had children in the car with her. The kid in the passenger seat was about 11 or 12 years old, and he looked absolutely mortified. Poor guy. But at least he knew his mum was in the wrong. I spoke up again, saying that she had misheard what Nia said, and she scowled at me and didn't respond. Then she looked straight into Nia's eyes, and I'll never forget this for the rest of my life. We're not in a third world country, where you have to eat off the floor. We all fell silent. I remember saying that, "Can you believe this person?" with my manager. It felt like someone had sucked the air out of my lungs. We all just stared at her for a few seconds, and then she said she didn't want anything and drove off. At least that's how I remember it. We might have remade her order, but whatever. I remember hugging Nia after we all looked at how sorry we were that someone had treated her like that. She took it like a champion and joked about it with us until we all calmed down. Sorry for the lack of emotional payoff, but the story has always thrown me off. It's crazy to me that people can speak and act so maliciously towards others, just because they're from another part of the world. And sorry for originally calling this woman racist. In my opinion, she was being extremely racist and xenophobic. But you can come to your own conclusions. Hey, thanks for watching to the end. If you want to leave a comment, go ahead. I always see them. I always enjoy engaging with them. You can subscribe if you want, if you choose to. No, there's no pressure to. Or you can click one of the other videos on the screen now. Or you may even have a favourite subreddit that you'd like covered.